And during that investigation, the Macoupin County Sheriff's Department immediately realized and recognized that this possibly could be associated to a missing persons that was reported in 2012 to them out of the Royal Lakes area. His name is Joe Wilson. He was 24 at the time of his disappearance. He was an African-American male. He was handicapped, and as we found out in this investigation, he was greatly respected and admired by many of the residents within Royal Lakes. He was liked by pretty much everybody, not a violent individual. And the indications were that his disappearance was unusual. Joe wouldn't have went off on his own. I think that based upon what we have gathered in the investigation, the evidence that we have found, that once the DNA analysis is conducted and a possible identification is made, there's a possibility that this case will in fact be turned over to the Macoupin County Sheriff's Department, who will then forward it to the Macoupin County State's Attorney's Office for a review for possible charges. In our investigation, although we haven't identified the human remains that we have found thus far, we have been able to link Joe Wilson's last known whereabouts and obtain information as to what may have happened to Mr. Wilson. I wouldn't be able to. It's difficult to say that as far as an exact cause of death. That cause of death will come from a forensic pathologist and probably through the coroner's inquest, through an examination of more than just the evidence that was observed at the scene, but information obtained during the investigation from statements as to a manner of death. That can take several weeks too, and up to a couple or a few months. Years of experience, and the sheriff with 20 years of experience, and they walked up on the scene and they observed things in the scene that they believed was likely indicative of a homicide. I myself have examined the things that they observed, and I also believe that the victim is likely has also been the victim of a homicide. But I wouldn't be able to go into specific evidence at this point in time. This is Joe Wilson. I believe that we have identified the path and his steps prior to his death, if this is him, and who he was with.